Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I just finished a really brief meditation. I was about to chant Daimoku, do my Ganyo, do my evening prayers. And so I just started to begin meditating. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about is some meditations I've done where I've tried to put myself on the other side between Russia and the United States, and I've done this from different angles. In this meditation, I have sat as a Russian person watching Russian news, and I've been horrified by the living conditions that people are subjected to in America. For example, in one meditation on Russian television, it talked about the epidemic of rising homelessness in the United States, and how in America, because they don't believe in social programs, they just let their elderly, their war veterans and heroes, freeze to death in the streets, and they're just amazed that America can be so horrible to its veterans. Like, one of the things that came up in the meditation was how they feel about their soldiers, Russian soldiers. The love, care packages. Seniors will knit sweaters and scarves. The bonds that happen where the Russian soldiers, I'm being told that the Russian soldiers also come and volunteer and go and see the seniors, and they have these bonds and these relationships and care packages and cookies, and we love our Russian soldiers. And when they see this film footage of America's treatment of its vets, it's against everything that Russia stands for. Not that they don't have their own problems with vets and drug addiction and whatnot, but it's just shown in such a way on Russian television that the homelessness, the treatment of the vets is amplified. The other thing that's really been amplified a lot on Russian television is, and this has gone on for a while, is the racism in America, how unjust the country is, how the people are exploited, how the poor are exploited, how people of color are exploited. The genocide of Native Americans, the horrific treatment of women, while simultaneously claiming to be a feminist nation, but we still don't have the ERA. So, but I think Russia does. So, from their perspective, when they look at our nation's history, and our ethics and our values, the reneging on contracts with over 500 Native American tribes, over 500 nations, and over 90% genocide. So most of that from disease, but often intentionally. So those are the kinds of things you hear when you're in the Russian propaganda, standing or sitting in the kitchen, with your aunt, watching the news while you're making dinner. Those are the images that you're going to see. All right, so this is a meditation that really is, I think, many voices, and it's coming from Putin. I called it Putin's Russia, the people of Russia that are, and Putin. So it says, the first thing is that I kind of imagined him when I meditated on him, and I had my little fantasy meditation. In this meditation, I saw him as kind of lounging, amused, and saying to me, "You think I'm boring?" like he was going to give us information that was going to make him more interesting to us. And he said, "Look, I'm not a bad guy. I mean, you've been painted this picture by your media, your fake news, your CIA, your FBI, whatever, that I'm this horrible person. No, I'm just a true patriot, and I come from nothing. My family was poor. I know what it is to be poor. I was poor, and I found a life through in this country, in the country in Russia, and Russia gave me that, and so that's why I dedicated my life to Russia. No one wants to tell you that story. They gave a kid like that, someone who didn't have a lot of options. They gave me a wonderful life, a great education, and it was very positive in that respect. He said he's tired of the American media constantly painting him and Russia like this big bad enemy. He said he would like to point out that it was not let us review your history, America. He said that we did not take the boats to Africa and sell the slaves to the Americas. This was not Russia. We did not intentionally infect blankets and kill the American people, the first person. So he wasn't a part of that. He said we didn't participate in that genocide, and he said we're not responsible for how you treat the vets. This kept coming up over and over and over again. That he said, I promise that if I was the president of your country, all your vets would be adequately taken care of. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Shame on the Americans for how they have treated their soldiers, their vets. So this was really a big thing with him. And I think that was because of his training. And he said, we're not responsible for your racism. We're not responsible for your Board of Education. We're not responsible for segregation. And he was really strong about that. We are not responsible for segregation. And he said, ask anyone who received, we can ask Violetta. I know she watches the channel. Hi, Violetta. A question to her. Here's what Putin is saying, and maybe she can answer the question. So there's a question for Violetta. He says, anyone can say who had a Soviet education system, it's the same books, it's the same standards, because this is part of our policy, our conviction in Russia is that everyone is equal, everyone is going to receive the same books, the same education across the board. And he said he was very proud of that. And he said in America, if you're poor, you can't even get books. Your teachers can't even pay their loans. He said it would be freer education, the teachers. You would also have a stipend for an apartment. I didn't know this, but thank you, Putin, for letting me know that. So you have a stipend, you have a discount housing with him and no student loan. He wants to be the American president, I think. And he says this is ridiculous. You should not. You're teaching the next generation. No wonder your schools are collapsing. You treat your teachers horribly, and you don't even respect your children and your teachers enough to pay for it and get proper education. He said this doesn't happen in the Soviet system. You have the same books, the same paper, everything the same. Everyone taught Soviet system. He said, your children can't even pass an English language class, and you're speaking in English. Sorry. He said, if I was the president, terrible me, Putin, let me tell you, your child would not only speak English, the same, and every child would receive the same education, same standards, but you would also speak Spanish, Russian, and French. That's what he says. And he said he would never treat immigrant populations the way that we have. It's something that he's very proud of, the Russian army that liberated people during the war. That Russia helped liberate Auschwitz, and we will never forget. We will never forget what we saw, and our soldiers were changed forever. And the fact that your country could do what you've done to these immigrants. And he said a Russian soldier would have taken his coat off and put it around that child to keep them warm. this is a soldier. This is the kind of country that you should be. And so before you judge me and the choices that I have made to make sure that my country prospers, I suggest you look closer to home. And with that, he bid us good night. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. And with that, we thank Putin for sharing his side of the story. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.